Hello everybody, my name is Thryss. If you are new, welcome to my channel, and if you are a returning stitchie, welcome back. I'm super happy to have you. So today is a video I have been working on for a minute. Just trying to see what was reflecting back here. It's my tablet. Okay, I want you to meet somebody. His name is Hank. Okay, I know I'm corny. This is a Hank of yarn. We all know him. We all love them. They look beautiful on the shelves and on the hooks at our local yarn stores and on the interwebs and everything like that. But what do you do with it once you get it home? How do you use it? How do you turn this into something that you can knit or crochet with? What all can you do with it? And those are the things that I am about to show you in this video. All the different ways that you can take Mr. Hank here and turn it into a cake, turn it into a ball, and also how you can make a blank, the uses for the blank, and how you can take a cake and a ball and put it back into Hank form. There's many tools in all of the processes for these things, including your knees. Your body, your own body, can be a tool for working with these things. So I'm going to show you all of that. I really hope you enjoy this video and you find it helpful. If you do, I would really appreciate a thumbs up and a comment in the comment section, even if it's just an emoji, because it really helps the channel out. I'm on my way to 10K. That's my goal this year, is to hit 10K. And I can't do that without y'all's support. And if you comment and you leave a like, it pushes me out in the algorithm to new people, which is probably how you found me. So let's get to it. Okay, so we are hanging out on my bed for a second because this first method of making this into a ball, if you're like me and you have issues with your knees or your back or your coccyx, which is your tailbone, sometimes a chair is not comfortable to sit in, even for a few minutes. This method doesn't take long. It depends on how fast you can go. It takes me about 8 to 10 minutes maybe. So I'm going to show you here on the bed first, and then I'll show you in the chair. And I wanted to show you puppy cam. So we have Kobe right there, and we have Gizmo right here with all that hair and fluff. Okay. So the first thing you're going to do is you are going to locate your ties. No matter what method you use, you're going to have to deal with these. You're going to typically have 2 to 3 ties in a hank. You're going to have one that looks like this, where you have your yarn tied up into it. That's going to be the last one that you cut loose. We're going to cut this one loose first. Oh, there it is. So let me do this. Okay. And then you just pull it through. Forgive my nails. I most likely have dye on them. I dye yarn if you're new and don't know. Okay, so now we are going to just put it around our knees like this. So it's going around our knees like that. Okay, so there's the first. There we go. Okay, so you cut that part off, and that frees your strand here. You can either you can either try to untie that, unknot it. I don't bother with that. I just cut it off. Okay, so you're gonna have 2 strings, your start and your end. You're gonna have one that goes underneath your hank. I just tuck that away right there, and I use the one that is up here on top. Okay, let me see if I can zoom out just a little bit. Okay, the way that I start it is I hold it in my palm and I wrap it around a couple of times to hold that end down. And oh, move these. If my movements look a little weird, A, I'm almost totally blind, and B, I am doing this through the lens of my camera. So you just pull it around like this, and you just keep wrapping it. So then I have, you know, quite a bit of wraps like this. You don't have to. You can start doing this pretty much immediately, but I do several wraps. I mean, there's probably like 40 or 50 here because my hands can't handle holding a tiny little ball. So you have it like this. I just twist it and hold it, and then I start. This is my method. Doesn't mean this is the only method. Doesn't necessarily mean this is even the right method. So it will be a little misshapen at first, but I just like wrap it 10 or 15 times in one direction, then I turn it, and I just keep turning it, and it will start taking shape. Okay, so there are two kinds of swifts. There is an Amish swift and the umbrella swift. Now, technically they both do the same thing, but in my opinion, not all swifts are created equal. And for me, because I have a yarn company, I have to rely on these tools a lot, and so speed is paramount. They both have different strengths. One of these swifts is stronger at one thing than the other one, and I'm going to show you that now. Okay, this is how you put most Amish swifts together. There will be these two that just fit together like that. Okay, and you'll have two different sizes of sticks. The short one goes in the middle, and that's what holds your arms. Okay. And then in these arms, depending on how big you want your hank, you have different measurements. And that's what you'll put the sticks on, which is what your yarn will wrap around. Okay, so I kind of am in a cramped workspace right now. So all my crafting stuff is probably in frame. This is my dining table, so there's stains on it. So I apologize for that. Okay, so I have chosen the 4th hole setting. Okay, so the way I do it, I actually usually do this on the floor. I don't typically do this on the table. But let's see, make sure we have enough room. Okay, so I wrap around the bottom of one of the pegs, a couple of wraps, and then I wrap the yarn a couple of wraps over that to help it stay in place. And then, now the yarn right now is a ball in a yarn bowl on the floor. If you're doing this from a cake, you can really get to going quick. You can make up a hank in just 2-3 minutes on a standard hank. And then I just, well, don't let go of it. And then just do this until it's all the way done. And then I will show you how to do ties in a minute. Okay, this is an umbrella swift. This is a Stanwood. I have the Stanwood ball winder and I have the Stanwood umbrella swift. So with this one, this is the part that's going to go over the lip of your table, and it has a hole in the bottom, and here is your screw that you are going to put in here and screw towards your body, and that will tighten it up, and you'll go up however high you need to go to clamp to whatever surface that you're clamping to. So I'm going to do that now, and then I'll show you the rest. Okay, so we have our Swift attached to the table, and you'll notice right here there is a little disc. You decide how big you want your hank, and then the hole that's in here, you have another little screw. And you will screw that into place, and then it won't go any further. It can still kind of go up, but it won't go any further. It's not, in my opinion, as stable as the Amish one. I do like, unlike the metal ones and some cheaper wood ones, after a time when your yarn, after you've used it for a while, it can start bowing in the center. This seems to be made of really good quality, and thus far has not done that. Okay, so these are a little bit trickier for me anyway. I'll be honest, I've almost never used this one. I use the Amish Swift for just about everything, if not everything. So I kind of whip the yarn out there, and I bring it around, and I do basically the same thing that I showed you on the Amish one, in that I hold it. Oops, let me get it actually on there. Okay, I hold it while I make a couple of rows to hold it on there. And this one is a little more tricky, in my opinion, to keep it on there. I don't know, maybe people tie it. I don't actually honestly know for sure. Okay, there we go. So then, I mean, it will probably, yeah, the end fell down a little bit, but it's okay. When you take it off, you can just pick that up. It won't unravel or anything. And so see, it's a much, much slower process. To get that on there. But you just keep winding it. Okay, so whenever you are done, you will just take that little screw out of the disc that holds your Swift up, and take a hold of your hank. This is how I do it anyway. I kind of hold the Swift with my fingers and hold the yarn, let the Swift go, and lift the hank off, and then you're good to go. I'm going to show you how to tie your hanks now. Okay, I'm going to try to show you how to do this. I'm sitting behind you, and I'm going to be going around on my phone in front of it. So these are angles I don't typically work with, so forgive me if it's a mess. But we're going to tie our hanks now to keep them tidy. So this does not always happen. In fact, I think more often than not, you are not lucky enough to have your ends line up about the same area. Forgive me, I have dye on my hands and under my nails. Boy, I seem really zoomed in. Can I zoom out anymore? I cannot, and I can't move this back any further. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take a length of yarn or something like that. This is just like fingering weight organic cotton, something like that. And you're going to cut off, I don't know, about an 8-inch length. It's better to have too much than not enough. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take your hank and you're going to about half it. Is that about half? Yeah. And basically you're doing like a figure 8 or like a butterfly. Okay. I'm going through the middle of the hank. It doesn't matter if you go from behind or from the front. Okay. So this one I went from behind coming out towards me and lift it up. This other end, I'm going to go the opposite direction. I'm going to go in from the front, behind, and up. So each of these sections are inside of this butterfly or figure eight. Okay, let me, oops, I lost my end. There we go. Oh, I'm not on camera. Okay. So now we have our end. I'm going to take both ends of my yarn oh goodness gracious, sorry guys, this is angles I don't normally use. So I'm holding all 4 pieces, okay, and I'm just going to hold on, I'm just getting a hold of it right now, I'm not doing anything. There we go. I've got all 4 ends, okay, and I put my 2 fingers in there, and I just turn. You're just tying a knot in it. This is just the way I do it. Not being able to see, I'm doing all of this based off feel. I can't see what I'm doing. So I put my fingers in and wrapped them around them and twisted up. And I bring my yarn between those 2 fingers. I grasp it and I fold the yarn over that tail. And then I'm holding both ends and I'm pulling tight and there's a knot. And that keeps your ends exactly where you can find them, so they don't come undone. Oops, sorry for hitting you guys. Now we're going to do the same thing. I like to tie 3 ties. So this is where our tie is at. So basically wherever this is, I kind of just split it in thirds. So we're going to do 1 right about there and we're going to do 1 right about there. Okay. So I'm going to show you this again. Now this time we're doing it without tying our ends in. We're going to split our hank in about half, approximation, you know, approximately half. And I always like to go from the back first. So I'm going from the back forward, and then I'm going from the forward back with the other side. Oops, sorry guys. I will get used to this and I will get better at this, I promise. It's a weird angle, especially if you're blind. And then again, I just, oops, sorry. I just tie it. And then we have, you know, we have it tied down and it isn't going anywhere. Okay, we're going to learn how to make a cake now. This is my Stanwood ball winder. Much like how we attached the Swift is how we are going to attach the ball winder. You fit the table right there and you just twist this up onto it. Okay, so I have this attached to the table. Here's the components we have. So this is what the yarn is going to be caked onto, and then the yarn gets fed through these 2 points, and we have the handle to spin it. I have my yarn sitting over here on the Swift, the Amish Swift right by me. Both the Amish Swift and the table Swift work perfectly fine for this stage. They both can go, you know, really fast. The Amish one can go faster, but they can both go adequately fast. And with minimal snags and, you know, issues like that. So this is why I typically use the Amish Swift more, because it can do both parts that I need it to do. But I also have to move a high volume of yarn, making cakes, de-hanking hanks, or making hanks, de-hanking hanks. So for the standard user, you know, either one of them are perfectly fine. I just go with the Amish one. The downfall of the Amish one is that the pegs can sometimes pop out when you're moving it. Not when it's going around and around, but when you like try to move it around. If you're not careful, sometimes they can pop out. I wish they made the holes a little bit deeper. And then it's big. It takes up room. So that's the other thing, is you have to have half a table clear for it to be able to spin, or be able to go on the floor or something like that. So that is the downfall of that one. Okay, let me grab my end. You want to grab the end that's on the outside of your hank. And then this is how you put yarn on a ball winder. Let me see if this camera angle will let me zoom in. Woo! Sorry, guys. I don't know. Okay. There we go. All right. So it's a little curly cue. It goes like this and around and down. So what I do, and for those that are visually impaired, you have this post, okay? I put my yarn against that post and I pull it up, and then you bring the yarn in between these two metal loops right here. You bring it down and just lift it back up, and you're here in the middle of the hole. Or you can just, if you're talented at threading, if you can see it well enough, you can just feed it right through the hole. You can do the same thing with this one right here. Am I in? Okay. There we go. You can do the same with this one right here. Just feed it through the center if it is hard for you to do that. But I do the same thing. I put the yarn against the post, bring it up through that middle part, and boom, it's done. Okay, I do it down at the table though. Okay, so then you have these little notches on the top. You put the yarn through those 3 notches. This is what your center feed is going to come out. That's how that it's going to come out through that. And then you just spin. Let's see, you spin like this, and hold your yarn that's coming off of the Swift. Now, I'm going to have you stick with me just in case we have any issues, so I can help you figure out how to fix those issues, because issues do occur. Now, this stand wood, I am able to put, if you are familiar with Keith from Yarn Snob, he has the power balls. I am able to put an entire power ball on this cake, on this ball winder, and those are 10-ounce. Are those 10-ounce balls? They're like, they're basically 5 hanks of yarn. They're 500 grams. They're 5 hanks of yarn, and I'm able to put that on here. And this goes really quickly. I won't know until editing if this is just ripping your ears. Now, the next thing we're going to do is the Addy. I'm going to show you how to make a blank. I personally like to make a blank from a cake more than I like to make it from a ball, because the cake is more easily managed. The ball likes to, you know, flip around. But if you have a good yarn bowl, then the ball is fine. But when you get to the center of that ball, you know how we wrapped it around our fingers and then we kind of did a little twist and then started wrapping it around that twist? That area can become a problem, especially if you do blanks the way I do. I use a drill on my Addy. So you do have to be mindful of that. When you get to that part, you will just have to be very careful that it's not knotting up, because it can get back quick, or do that last teeny tiny little bit manually with your hand and not with your drill. So this is not a formal tutorial on how to use your Addy. I'm just showing how to make a blank and what a blank is. I use them a lot in yarn dyeing. I like longer color transitions, so I like to make blanks when I'm hand dyeing anything for myself typically. Not always, but most of the time. I'm not a huge fan of variegated yarn. So we're at the end. We have our end here, and I like to just take it. Oops. Sorry. I like to take it and just tuck it in a few rows right there. Okay, now you're going to take and pull your center feed out, hold on to it, and lift your cake off. That space fills in, and that's why you hold on to it, because you don't want it to fall inside of there. And then you have a nice, beautiful little cake you can put in a cake cozy or something like that. My friend Dee over at Dees Creative Hands did a tutorial of a like bohemian, I don't think I'm using the right word, but like hippie bohemian sort of little cake cozy. It has all different sizes. They're super adorable. I will try to remember to link that video below so you can go check that out. It's really cute. I've made a ton, and they can hold little cakes like this. They can hold like the Hobie cakes. They can hold all the way up to those giant bonus Lion Brand mandala cakes. I mean, they can hold every cake that you can think of. I challenge you to find one that they can't hold. Okay. I wanted to show you something really quick. If you don't have a table, like me and my family, we don't have a dining table. This is just a craft table sitting in the kitchen. We don't have a dining room in our house, so we don't have a dining table. And if I had a dining table, I still wouldn't use it for this because I wouldn't want to clamp metal onto it. And I like to sit on my couch or my bed and be comfortable. So what I do when I can't, whenever I use my ball winder, I actually just went and got a piece of, oh, what is this called? It's particle board covered with laminate. It's called, is it melamite? I can't remember what it's called. This one's from IKEA, but you can take a shelf from anything. You can go get a piece of laminated particle board. We made me a desk. Actually, that's what this is from. We made me a desk, and this is a piece left over from that. We bought a bunch of this from Home Depot. But you can get a piece of, I would suggest laminated so that your yarn and your legs and hands don't get snagged. But I literally just set this in my lap and I just cake from here. Put the yarn in my bowl and just cake it from here sitting on my lap. The part that gets a little tricky is this guy that clamps onto it. I just like wrap my leg like this. Like pretend this is, my elbow is my knee, my bicep is my thigh, this is my calf, and this is my foot. I just literally sit like this, and it sits in the crook of my arm. And, you know, usually my leg is propped up on a blanket. Oops, see? The pegs fall off. Usually my leg is propped up on a blanket anyway, and so it's nice and comfy and just sits there. You know, you learn how to hold it. It takes a second to get used to, but you learn how to hold it, and then you're off to the races. Okay, so this is a king size Addy. 48 pin. These are the pins. And this is how we make a blank. So this is the handle. It normally has a little bit right here, but I accidentally lopped it off one day. I don't even remember how. This is also the part that your drill, you can buy an Addy attachment, and the little black thing sits on your drill bit and then attaches to this so that you can go super fast. I'm not going to show you that because it's super, super loud, but you just look up Addy drill attachment on Amazon and you'll find them. And it attaches to, you know, your standard bit. Okay, so you can start anywhere because you're not taking count of rows. So you start going under the tooth of the first one. This is your foundation row. Then you go behind the next one, then go under the tooth of the next one, behind the next one, under the tooth of the next one, behind the next, so on and so forth. So just keep doing that. This is how I do it anyway. If this is incorrect, if other people do it a different way, that's totally fine. To each their own. This works for me. I haven't ever had any issues with it. I'm pretty sure this is the way you're supposed to do it. So we're coming back up on those black keys. There's 3 of them. So you should be under the key on the first one, behind the key on the second one, and now you're going under that first key, which you also went under. That's how you know you're right. You're going to bring your yarn down. Sorry, my hand probably blocked that. You're going to bring your yarn down into this thing right here, this feeder. Close that little lid. Make sure everything's good. And then you're just going to keep going until all of your yarn is done. You don't have to do anything. You just have to hold it while turning it. That clicking your sound is the row counter counting another row, but we're not worrying about that. That's why it has you start on that first black key. Now I'm going to show you really quick the drill, and then I'll come back when it's all done. Okay, so this is our handle. This is the drill attachment. So we can just fit it right over that. And it sits like that. Now I'm going to do this and I will mute the sound because it's quite loud. So this section I sped up to about 25 times speed. I thought it's kind of cool looking, but it doesn't take very long. It takes just a few minutes, 5 or 6 minutes to make a blank on a standard hank size. Okay, so to bind off, there is an actual way to do this. I don't do it, so I'm not going to do it for the first time now and then pretend like I always have done that. I don't do it. I should do it, but I don't because I'm lazy. So what should be done is when you're taking this off of here, which I'm about to show you how, you would put your end on a tapestry needle, and as these teeth come up and bring these loops up, you would take the loops off, sewing this through it, and that is how you would bind off, and then it won't come undone while you're dyeing it or whatever. I don't do that. So the end does come unraveled somewhat, but I don't do it because it's going to turn around and be resewn and used. Or I mean, it's going to be crocheted or knitted into something. So what I do is now when I'm ready to go off, I take my strand out of the guide and I just lay it inside of here. I close my guide so that my teeth don't get stuck on it. And then I hand crank and now it will start coming off. One row is removing the loops, the next one is pulling them off. And then when you get to the last one, you just lift it off and over. And now you have a blank. Now, you may be asking, what the heck is a blank and why do I want one? You may not. So this is called a sock blank. You can use this to make a double layered hat. You can use this to make a double layered scarf. So, you know, many things. I don't use my Addy for most of the things it can be used for. I literally only use it for these blanks because I then dye them. That's my only purpose for them. Had that had this been any longer, I would have stopped and I would have started rolling it up like a donut, which is what I'm doing now. This is how I store these. I roll it up like a donut. But had this been longer, I would have rolled it up like this and then I would have continued spinning it. So the use that I use these for is to dye. The reason being, when you have a normal hank laying out, like think of it as a long tube like this, all of your colors are really short and variegated. I don't like highly variegated yarn. At most, I like gradient ombre self-striping. So this allows me to dye it to where those color transitions happen over rows instead of over stitches. So where you may get all of the colors in one hank within 5 or 6 stitches, it will take rows on rows for me to get them, and it's a beautiful long transition. I really, really love it. So this is why I do it that way. So I just donut it up. I tuck that inside, and now it's nice and untidy, and it doesn't come undone. And then I store them until I am ready to use it. Well, now I don't make them ahead of time. I make them right before I'm about to dye them. That way they don't get stretched out and everything like that. But that is how you make a blank. And then you can crochet directly from this or knit directly from this. You just take the end and I'm not going to pull it because I don't want to undo this, but you take the end and you just start going directly from it. It's super easy. Nice and tidy. I really like it. So that is it. If there's any other questions you guys have that I didn't cover, leave it below. But I think I covered pretty much everything. No, I did not in fact cover everything. Hi, editing Thryss here. It's later tonight. I realized that I did not show you guys how to make a hank in the first place, in the sense of, if you open it to look at it, ooh, so pretty, look what I just bought. How do I put it back as a hank? It's simple. I'm not the best at it. I'm way better than I used to be. Making hundreds of these a month, I have definitely gotten better. I put each end on my thumb and I twist my hand, this hand once, I twist this hand once, and that's it. You want most of your twisting to come from actually wrapping the hank around itself. And the reason for that is so used to, I would, twist it up 3 or 4 times, and then it made the hank really stiff, and yeah, just, I don't know, it didn't look great. So just doing that and wrapping it around itself made it to where the strands are looser, it's softer, it's, I don't know, it's a textural thing, I guess. But that is how you make hank a hank. And yeah, so I hope you guys liked what you saw. I hope it helped you. So if you wouldn't mind, I'd love to have you as a stitchy. That's what I call my people here, is my stitchies. And I hope you will leave a like and a comment down below. Really helps your girl out. And I will talk to you guys later. I will see you on the YouTube streets. So stay weird, my friends.